Have you ever thought if they really loved me, they would just understand? I used to believe that. I expected people to know what I needed without ever teaching them how to actually support me. And then I'd feel hurt when they didn't. But here's what I eventually learned. People can't respond to our needs that they've never been taught to actually understand. And sometimes, even after you've communicated clearly, some people still choose not to listen. Today, I'm going to share 7 practical steps that help me learn how to communicate my bipolar needs, protect my peace, and recognize the difference between people who wanted to understand me and people who only wanted me to change for them. Along the way, I'll share some of my own journey, including what worked with my mom and what didn't work in some of my relationships, and why learning to communicate honestly changed everything. So let's dive in. Part 1, knowing what you need before asking someone else. One of my biggest mistakes I made early after my diagnosis was expecting other people to understand needs that I hadn't truly understood myself. When I was first diagnosed at 43, I was honestly still learning what overstimulation meant to me, what helped me, what made symptoms worse, what helped me regulate. Before we ask someone for support, we have to become students of ourselves. So questions that we can ask ourselves are, what happens when I get overstimulated? What helps me calm down? What signs tell me that I'm becoming unstable? What support actually helps? So practical exercises would be to write 3 sentences, such as, when I'm overwhelmed, the best way to help me is. What doesn't help me is. You cannot communicate what you haven't clarified. And then part 2, timing matters more than words. One lesson I learned the hard way was that you don't wait until you're already in the midst of a crisis. Trying to explain bipolar during a panic attack or during mania or during severe depression is like trying to teach someone to swim where both of you are actually drowning. So instead, have the conversation during a stable season. And here's a good script to use. I want to talk to you about something important, not because anything is wrong today, but because I want us to be prepared before things become difficult. Or, I'd love for you to understand what bipolar looks like for me. Or, I don't expect you to fix me. I simply want us to understand each other better. Notice, no blame, no accusations, just honesty. And then part 3. Use scripts instead of assuming they understand. This kind of ties into the last one. People often ask me, what do I actually say? And so there are a few scripts when you need space. I'm feeling emotionally overwhelmed. I care about you, but I need some quiet time to regulate. This isn't about pushing you away. When you're becoming overstimulated, my brain feels overloaded right now. Can we continue this conversation later when I'm calmer? When depression is hitting, I may seem distant today, but it isn't because I don't care about you. Depression sometimes makes connection feel harder, even though I still love you. When mania or hypomania begins, I've noticed I'm talking faster, sleeping less, and feeling more energized than usual. I need help slowing down instead of encouraging the excitement. Those simple conversations are prevalent and enormous to misunderstandings, right? They help take away those enormous misunderstandings. Part 4. My mom taught me what healthy communications look like. Our relationships that has become incredibly meaningful is the relationships that I have with my mom. Was it always perfect? No. We both have learned. But what it made the difference wasn't that she suddenly became an expert on bipolar. It was her willingness to understand. Instead of immediately giving advice, she started asking me questions. What are you feeling today? How can I support you? What do you need right now? And I learned how to answer those questions honestly. Sometimes I'd say, I don't need solutions today. I just need someone to listen. Other times I'd tell her, I think I'm getting overstimulated. I need to leave early, or I need to keep my routine today. What helped our relationship grow wasn't perfect communication. It was safe communication. She listened with curiosity instead of judgment. And because I felt safe, I became more honest. So notice that safety created honesty. Healthy relationships don't require perfect people. They require teachable people. And then part 5, not everyone will respect your boundaries. And this was one of the hardest lessons of my life. There were relationships where I continued to be in that relationship, and I explained my bipolar. I shared my needs. I talked about my boundaries. I asked for understanding, but instead of listening, I was criticized. I was dismissed. I was misunderstood. I was expected to simply try harder. And for a long time, I believed if I just explained myself better, they would eventually understand. Sometimes that can be true, but sometimes it isn't. Some people don't lack information. That's not the problem. They lack willingness. And one of the healthiest decisions I ever made was walking away from relationships that continually ignored the needs I had clearly communicated. That wasn't quitting, that was protecting my health and my peace. There's a difference between someone who doesn't understand yet and someone who refuses to understand. One relationship deserves patience, and the other relationship deserves boundaries. Number 6, or part 6. Remember that communication is a conversation, not a speech. So it's a conversation, not a speech. One mistake I made was thinking, I've explained bipolar once, I'm done. Healthy communication is ongoing. As your symptoms change, of course, your needs change. As your relationships deepen, the conversations will automatically deepen too. So try asking, what questions do you have? What confuses you? What would help you understand bipolar better? When people feel invited to the conversation, they're more likely to stay engaged. And then part number 7, our last part, build relationships that help you stay stable. And I can't emphasize this enough. They have to help you stay stable. Here's something I've learned. The goal isn't to convince everyone to understand bipolar. The goal is to build a life filled with people who are willing to learn, people who respect boundaries, people who believe you, people who celebrate your progress, people who don't make you feel guilty for protecting your mental health. Healthy relationships don't eliminate bipolar, but they absolutely make stability easier. If you've been afraid to have these conversations, I understand. They're vulnerable. They're uncomfortable. Sometimes they don't go the way we actually hope they will go. I've been there. But every honest conversation is an opportunity to build healthier relationships. And remember this, your needs are not a burden. Your diagnosis does not make you difficult to love. The right people won't expect you to hide your bipolar. They'll want you to understand it so they can love you well. As I've rebuilt my own life, I've learned that healthiest relationships aren't the ones without hard conversations. They're the ones willing to keep having them. And if some people choose not to listen, that doesn't mean your needs are too much. It simply means that they may not be the right people to walk beside you during this season of your life. Keep communicating, keep growing, keep choosing relationships that protect your peace, because stability isn't built by medication alone. It's also built by the people that we allow into our lives. So thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If this episode encouraged you, I'd love for you to follow MindFit Empowerment so you never miss a future episode. And if you're ready to take the next step towards living a stable and fulfilling life with bipolar, download my free resource at www.mindfitempowerment.com/freedom. Until next time, remember, bipolar may be part of your story, but does not have to write your entire future. You're capable of building a life filled with hope, purpose, healing, and a fulfilling life built on stability. Until next time, be empowered, and I will see you soon. This is Jen. Thanks so much for watching.